He's my biggest companion. He goes everywhere I go, everywhere.
Mental health is significantly stigmatized still. A lot of people do have service animals and do find them comforting.
It's reinforced my belief in people.
When I see that they are getting their life back, they're regaining their independence, I can't even express it in words.
Honestly, I knew dogs were capable of this all along.
My name is Nicole, and I have a service dog. I joined the Royal Canadian Navy in the mid-80s. I served for 33 years overall. I was young and I had a lot to prove. I knew back then that women could do everything men could do. So I joined as a marine engineer. I saw tactical dogs in the Army doing combat and doing specific things. And then I looked at police dogs. I thought, I wonder if I would qualify with my military service and some of the injuries that I sustained. Gee, my conditions, do service dogs even do that?
My name's Jay Blower. I'm a student success specialist here at Algonquin College. I do have a service dog. Her name's Rue. From a service standpoint, I always believed that you had to have a truly debilitating disability. But then I had a conversation with Jessica McGregor, who's Rue's trainer, and frankly mine. I'm very grateful to Jess for opening my eyes to maybe my own needs.
My name's Jessica McGregor. I own Sit and Stay. I work with veterans, military, first responders that do have PTSD or CPTSD. And I find that some of the more common tasks that are really beneficial for them, we call them block or watch my six. Basically what it does, it creates a barrier around this person. The person can feel safe because they don't have external stimuli, or if they do have external stimuli, the dog is helping them to feel grounded in that moment.
A friend of mine, he returned from duty and basically looked me in the eye and said, if it wasn't for my dog, I don't think I'd be alive. And then I was like, whoa, there is no magic fairy dust. I don't need to write that in an application. It doesn't need to be recorded other than that is what this is about.
You just need to know they're good for the soul.
Right.
My name is Heather Wrigley. I'm with Citadel Canine. We arrange for training and subsequent delivery of service dogs for new military veterans and first responders. My husband was military and saw a horrible thing in the Sinai, and he never got over it, and he finally, at about, 9 years ago, killed himself. And so when I saw that I saw an event here in Ottawa and what it was all about, and decided that this is where I was meant to be.
There are a lot of different types of quote, invisible disabilities. And when somebody is out with a dog and they don't have a cane and they don't have a wheelchair, the misconception is that if you can't see it, it doesn't exist.
People will always wonder why. They look at a service animal and then immediately think there's, and this is the tough piece, that there's something's wrong.
I found a local breeder and I saw an old advertisement, that there were puppies there. She said, I have one little guy. So they came to my door, and the first thing he did was curled up in my lap and put his head right here. I thought, oh, that's love at first sight. That was it. Nelson is a service dog who will help me in my daily life to heal and to move through the world with confidence. Good boy. Good boy. This one.
Finding an exit, finding a chair, exiting a crowd, finding a safe person, the list goes on and on and on.
She jumps on my lap and it just settles the emotions. Until you take that moment and just admit that you might need some support, and that's where it changes.
He's accepting, he provides unconditional love, and he doesn't judge my worth.
Born in the 60s, our way of dealing with managing our emotions very different than they are today. Admitting you need help. I was brought up, you don't ask. You put your head down, you work harder, you become tougher. I give off this persona of confidence, but we all have struggles.
Working with dogs in general has given me a lot of patience, but working with service dogs and service dog teams has really helped me to slow down and to take the time to understand in the moment what this person or what this dog needs.
I was a person who fed off of the service life. So go, quick, do it now, get it done. And that's not something you can do with an animal.
If PTSD, leaves you feeling broken and you can't go out and you can't go out to these places that are triggering and you can't do the things that you used to do, when the time comes where we're out with the dog and the dog is providing that support, it's amazing to watch that.
Seeing people be able to do things that they couldn't do before is to me amazing. They do help those people that really and truly would be locked away in their homes if they couldn't have help.
We know that grief will creep in those quiet moments. What Rue does is demonstrate a real life example that if she can help me, that canine therapy can really help anyone. It's that unconditional love.
Quiet company is having another being with you. When I don't feel like doing anything, when I don't feel like talking to anybody, I don't have to be alone. He's there.
Started learning jiu-jitsu when I was 33, so 17 years ago. What made me want to start to join Derek, he was at the time a blue belt in traditional jiu-jitsu, and he needed a partner. So when he came up to me, I was at the time about 280 pounds, powerlifting, and he knew I loved to tussle. So he asked, can you come and help me? And this guy at the time was, probably 185, 6'3". I was, like I said, 280, 285 at 5'10", thinking I could muscle my way around him. So we put out the mats. My job was to try to get him to stay down. And what I noticed is very easily after 2 minutes, when I'm not allowed to strike, I couldn't do anything. He was holding me down and felt like an eternity. Turned out to be 2 minutes. That sold me right away, that somebody that was smaller than me that I could normally bench press and get him off of me. That just sold me on how great of a sport this was. But jiu-jitsu, the first time you guys did this, the first time your parents signed you up and you did this, that was the bravest thing you've ever done in your life. That's the hardest thing you've ever done. It's harder than getting your black belt, okay? Because if you didn't do that, you'd never get your black belt. The beautiful part about jiu-jitsu is it's not made for just one type, and we all get a different story out of it. It's a learning tool for yourself. So what you take out of it is personal. It makes you better, and it solves a lot of things in the world.
It makes me feel strong and brave and confident and happy. It makes me feel like I can defend myself.
Jiu-jitsu makes me feel amazing because I get to do it with Sensei Mike. He makes it the best, one of the best sports in the world.
Jiu-jitsu just makes me feel very happy. Just that happiness that you can't even think of.
for myself personally, like it solved my anxiety, number one. And now you look and I'm teaching, seminars, and I'm teaching in front of other black belts, and I'm teaching, police. So it makes you believe in yourself. It's done great things for me. My first instructor was Kyoshi Bill Gatchell, and he taught me how serious jiu-jitsu was, and he introduced it to me. So then I got a chance to work with, Sensei Jones. He taught me that jiu-jitsu is for everyone. So learning from all these instructors hopefully has made me more of a well-rounded instructor. Who here argues with their parents? Right? There you go. Is it right to argue with your parents? No, it's not right at all. They know best, they're older, they're doing it to save a lot of problems, right? I think this is going to be funny because it's not an instructor that actually taught me the most. It's working with kids with dyslexia and autism and Asperger and social anxieties and all that kind of stuff, and just kids with no problems. I think that taught me the most. I can do this. So, who thinks they can do this? The most important thing to me, benevolence. Give back. I make the higher belts work with the younger belts. Why? Give back. Show them what it's like to be where you're at. So that is my goal, is to keep somebody as safe as possible, to be aware of their surroundings. Those are the things we like to teach. But the method that I use is simple. Have fun. To be resentful and to be angry takes a lot of energy. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is the only sport that you can spar at 100% and not hurt somebody. The reason for that is because you're not striking, but you are smothering. There's no better feeling than to actually spar a whole 5 minutes with somebody who's tried to take your arm, tried to take your neck, and all those things, and then you just hug it out. It's not about will Jiu-Jitsu carry on. It's about how you teach the ones coming up. I don't want to just walk on the mats and become a preacher and then leave off the mats and just say, this is how it's done. No. If they see me tie my belt straight and they see me with a clean gi and they see me bow on the mats and they see me say us and tori and yuki and all those things, they will follow suit, and they will do it without thinking, or without thinking they're being preached to. There's no ending to jiu-jitsu. That's the beautiful part. One day my body won't be able to move as well as it does, but also my mind will be sharper. Yeah, that's what I think it does. It just makes me a better person in a whole, not just on the mats.
A lot of us are lonely, and it's hard to find the communities we want to partake in, and sometimes you have to start them. Create the spaces you want to be a part of. I started Kino about 5 years ago. I couldn't do it without the people and the films. It runs itself almost. I like to believe that everyone has a creative voice and has the right to creative expression, and I am genuinely excited for them to have them screen their film, to get the audience reaction, to get to come on stage and talk about their films. People engage them, they ask questions. It's an incredible experience, and it's a high, and they want more of that. They're personal films. They come on stage and talk about them. They dig deep, and they reach out to other people in the audience. We all share this wonderful experience, these pieces of ourselves on screen and on stage. It is curated to a point where, we can't accept all films, but we try our best to accept all sorts of films, from beginner to advanced. So the primary purpose here is to create a welcoming and encouraging space for people to make films and start conversations. And boy, does it ever. People reach out to us and we talk to them, and they submit a film and we screen it. We encourage them to come on stage if they choose to. It encourages a space to participate and network and get feedback from your film in front of a live audience. And people challenge you, they ask questions, and people want to work with you. The festival is nothing without its filmmakers and their films. You got to nurture that. And a lot of these events are attended by the filmmakers and their friends and the actors. Can't you just be a big fish in a small pond sort of thing? Isn't that enough?
Don't take any second for granted. If you want to play and you can throw a ball and you aren't afraid to tackle people or get tackled, you're a perfect candidate for rugby.
Unfortunately, GGs were just a little too quick, and we see that same duo again, this time McDonald into the hands of Comtois.
Make sure to look after each other because nobody else will but us.
It's just a community that you can like drop into and feel invited. Hi, I'm Katie, and I'm a fly half for the Carleton women's rugby team.
I'm Abby. I play lock, and I'm on the Carleton women's rugby team. I'm Morgan, and I also play lock.
Hi, my name is Fatima. I'm a fifth year on the Carleton women's rugby team.
I personally love practice. I've always loved practice. Like, it's one of my favorite parts. Obviously, like, the game is huge, but I really enjoy just being able to do different things in practice and like being able to make mistakes.
I think the best part about going to the practices, getting better every day. I really enjoy the kind of part of being on a team, especially like an athletic team, of just kind of getting better every single day. Every practice is one step closer to being the best version of myself in terms of rugby as well as just in life.
The practices are where you do all the learning, and then the games are where you apply it.
What are strengths that we had in the Ottawa game? I think one thing you'll definitely hear from a lot of people, just visually you could see it too, is just the effort that we put on the field.
Just effort, and I think we had that all season. We just didn't really know where to apply the effort, and I think we were so exhausted from just trying and playing so much defense. Like, I think we played like 90% defense, which is exhausting.
Even though we had our lows, like, we were able to keep fighting, keep working hard, and punch a try in the last season. Yeah, so in general, it wasn't our best rugby played, but it wasn't like it was a terrible game. You know, we still had good moments.
Yeah, for sure.
I think another thing that we did really well on the field was kind of taking advantage of Ottawa's little mistakes. So they had a couple of times where, like, let's say they would drop the ball, or like they were a bit not as on top of what they were doing on attack, and we would capitalize on that. And you could see that was like the turnovers that we had. On that note as well, for the things that maybe we didn't do as well in that game, I would say is our connection as a team. I think it kind of fell apart a little bit on field.
I feel like with this game, it was so physically tough. Like, definitely our most like physical game we've had this season. Like, not giving up even though the score, like, it kept going up, and it was hard.
Maybe we seemed like we were kind of united together, but in spirit we might have been, but in play we weren't. But on attack, it was really important for us to kind of make a system and actually follow through with that. We didn't make the game easier for ourselves by not being connected in that aspect of kind of having that common goal.
The most emotional aspect for me was coming off and looking at those graduating players. I think that was really tough. You know, some of them wanted their space, some of them wanted to come give everyone hugs, and I think, yeah, that was probably the hardest part. I know, like, for me, I still have a couple years left. I'm ready to come back and fight again next year. Yeah, I think overall just that realization of, will I play with these girls ever again? That was probably the hardest part. Yeah,
I've been here since 2019, and it's 2025, so that's a lot of years. So I tore my ACL, decided to get surgery after my 5th year. So in my 6th year, rehabbing so I could return for my 7th year, which is like crazy, but I had a COVID year and then a rehab year. And then it came, the week of the McGill game, and I got it confirmed, no, you won't be playing. It just like broke me. It's just something I wanted to do so badly, and to get a no is really hard. What I would say to someone like in my position or going through a rehab, you kind of have to like frame your perspective that it's not necessarily for the worst. Like, it could be for the best.
Like, the growth that everyone's had, like the girls that I came in with my first year, like seeing them start, like seeing you start, like it's like actually just so incredible, like to see like how far everyone's come. And I think if we just keep putting in the work, like we'll get there for sure.
some of the best things about being a part of the women's rugby community is if you ever need help with something, I feel like everybody in the rugby community is always really, really open to that connection to be able to help you out, or if you want to help them out, there's always opportunities. And then, like, once you know people in the community, you don't not know people.
What makes me feel so good about women's rugby is that I'm going to be confident to go to whatever club I want.
I think it's such an inclusive sport, and you meet so many cool people because it's so inclusive, you know, like it's open to all different people from all different backgrounds, and I think that's personally like the best part about the rugby community.
The second I found rugby, it was like every single person was like different in the best possible way. Different personalities, like it literally didn't matter, like it felt like everybody just molded, and it was so empowering.
I really like to brag that rugby is probably one of the hardest, like physically hardest sports. Let's say someone in football, that one play, that could definitely be harder than a tackle in rugby. But for rugby, it's like they get tackled and they have to get back up and keep going. And then they have to actually make a tackle, and then they get back up and they have to pick it up and go again or something. Or like, and then they drop the ball and then they have to scrum now. I live, eat, breathe, sleep, everything rugby.
I just think like rugby has shown, okay, like it didn't work the first time. That doesn't mean it's not going to work on the second time or the third or the fourth. You keep trying until you find something that does work for you.
I think life as a Raven is changed. It's changed so much throughout the years. So, yeah.
It's eye-opening for everybody. Yeah.
You challenging yourself. Life as a Raven is almost like finding yourself. Like experiencing yourself on like an entirely different level, improving in ways you didn't know was possible, and like just like developing into this person that you didn't even know you could be.
I don't think it was an adventure, I think, for you, for your mom, you know.
Probably saw me coming and playing with my cousins and, you know, running through the sprinkler in the summer and all of those things, but there were other things going on.
There was always times during the year that I was uncomfortable in Northern Ireland. The troubles in Northern Ireland, the troubles as far as we were concerned started about 1969. There were certain sections of the city where many homes had been wrecked and vandalized, and people were getting shot, assassinated. And then the army came in, and they were initially welcomed by the Catholic minority of the city, but that over time changed. We'll get into 1970. There was much more violence in the city. There was bombs being set in downtown. It was a very unsettling time of our life.
Local people are saying that you used excessive force when you went in there.
Well, what is force? If you're being fired at, you return fire, and they know that perfectly well.
We became parents back in 1970 when our daughter Paula was born.
I was born in Northern Ireland in 1970. Living in Ireland, there was always a sense of family. And I have very vivid memories of going to the different houses and playing with my cousins. When I was about 7.5, my mom and dad and my brother emigrated to Canada, specifically Peterborough, Ontario, because I had an aunt and uncle there, and my mom and dad wanted a better life for my brother and I, and that's how we ended up in Canada. I do remember when we first moved to Canada. We moved in June. I have very vivid memories of driving down here. Well, I wasn't driving because I was 7, but the day we emigrated, and I remember turning into this road, looking at this road and thinking I was in some sort of a dream. I just remember coming around that corner and just seeing lawns, all this room where you could just run around. I just thought I was in some sort of paradise. Something about this corner, this moment, the day we emigrated, it's stuck for sure. Interesting. I was definitely scared. People made fun of my accent. People made fun of the way I dressed. You know, it was the 70s. Parents didn't ask, how are you feeling, right? Mental health wasn't really on the agenda. My mom and dad were 37 when they moved to Canada. Being the mother of 3 children, thinking about how hard that must have been to move to a new country. When I turned 37, I remember thinking, oh my goodness, this was the age my mom and dad were when they moved to Canada. Around the time we were moving, my family all met to go out for dinner. And like my grandparents and aunts and uncles and cousins, and it was sort of like the farewell, the last supper, right? The final dinner. And I have really vivid memories of standing in the parking lot and everybody crying and saying goodbye. And as a kid, I didn't understand it really. Even today, thinking about it, it's emotional. You've got to take every opportunity that's provided for you if you think that it's going to make a better life for yourself and your kids. Life is full of difficult decisions, that's sacrifices. There's no perfect path. I want you to go out and live your lives, and you know, your sister and your brother, live your life, grab an opportunity and take it. And so even if I'm waving to you at the airport, crying my eyes out, I would still want you to go and live your life. I think being at home is probably what most people say. It's where your kids are, where your family is.
Where we want to be, and where our family and you guys are here as well.
But I also think that there's something about where you're from.
My name is Samantha Woj, and I make sports art. So I went to Concordia University, where I got my bachelor's in studio arts, and I did my master's in art therapy. I was exploring my art during the summer, and that's where I found my love for sports art. The idea of making sports art came from a summer where I injured my ankle and I just graduated from my master's program, And I was joking around with my sister that since I can't physically work out or do sports, why don't I have fun using the sports equipment and be active through art? And she was like, do it. So I kind of just had fun playing around with the sports equipment, rolling it on canvases. And then I think 2 weeks later, the Olympics were happening, and they were going abroad, and it was during the pandemic where they couldn't have family members. So I thought, why not use the sports equipment around my house and try to recreate them and kind of support them from abroad. And they enjoyed it, and people online enjoyed it, and I just kind of grew from there. So I had to do an artwork for the Toronto Maple Leafs, and they were my first live art, a major sports team. And I think realizing the reach I could have with my art if somebody gives me the opportunity and gives me a space to provide my voice and create, I think was one of those epitome moments of just being like, wow. So I was born with ectrodactyly, which is basically, I say, a fun version of lobster claw syndrome. I was born with one finger on each hand, and when I was really young, they did like a toe to hand transfer. So these are toes, so they don't move. They're just like stumps. I find it never really held me back. I was fortunate enough to be around family members that let me kind of try and do things. And yes, there were people that were mean, but I try to not focus on them. I've struggled with that of like being associated like, oh, she can do this because of her disability. And I think there has to be a middle ground of the intention behind the use of disability. Because if I can inspire others who have disabilities and to provide them an opportunity to see what they can do and engage with others in that community, or share my experience with others who may not see people with a disability, then I don't mind that connection of disability in sports. I think being like, I could only do this because of my disability, that sucks. Don't compare. Like, you're lessening my value. I think this new realm of doing sports art really helped me push myself outside my comfort zone and really show people like what I have and what I can do. And a lot of people don't even recognize my hands. They can see what I can produce and what I can create. And that a disability doesn't mean an inability, and that you can do whatever you want and whatever you set your mind to.
The Doug Ford government is, quote, sabotaging the community college system in the province.
We're seeing one of the largest mass layoffs in Ontario's history.
The future of public education is on the line.
Right now, the college system is in chaos.
In 2025, colleges had to make a lot of hard decisions. There's been over 650 programs canceled this year. There's been at least 10,000 workers laid off, which is the biggest layoff in Ontario's history. And there's been at least 6 campuses that either closed or announced their closure this year alone.
Like, we're seeing our coworkers being walked out the door all the time. People are afraid. There's a lot of stress right now. We're very worried about losing their jobs.
And that's just the first round. Yeah. We have been told very clearly by our college leadership here that nothing is off the table and that we have not seen the end, that this is just the beginning.
So many students and programs that were really important to a growing industry are no longer available here. That seems to me sad, that a community college can't actually serve its community is heartbreaking.
By 2013-14, we'd already seen a 30% decline in the provincial funding we were receiving. So if we look at the bigger picture across Canada, all other provinces sit in and around 60% of funding coming from the provincial governments. Ontario currently sits just under 25%. So that leaves a significant shortfall.
So we are less than half of the national average. That tells me that the priorities for post-secondary education in Ontario, well, it's not a priority, is what that tells me. At least match the average, and we wouldn't be in this position.
In terms of funding, we are dead last in Canada.
Colleges then started to bring in more and more international students to start to try and cover the revenue losses that they were getting, first from the tuition freeze, but also then just from inflation as costs of things went up.
We had more international students at Ontario colleges than domestic students in the past.
We know that they pay several times more than a domestic student, and so it was a quick influx of cash. What has brought us to this moment, this crisis, is the college's over-reliance on that international money. And they were forced to do that to some extent by the province's chronic underfunding.
I think the opportunities being lost for students are being able to follow their heart. I was the coordinator for both the graduate certificate in script writing and the first year pathway program in performing arts. Those programs were suspended. So technically, as of September 2nd, I no longer teach. Performing arts was a very unique program that really caught a lot of students that have no alternative.
My name is Isabella Schwartz. I'm 17 years old. I was supposed to take performing arts. How are you going to take away the program that so many students have been studying for and looking forward to in 2 seconds and not realize like the impact that it's going to have on them? I found out in February. It was gut-wrenching. I was really angry. It was anger, sadness, confusion. I didn't know what was going on, and I thought it was extremely unfair. I felt like I had to reconsider and rebuild my entire life.
I love teaching, and to not be in the classroom for the first time in almost 30 years in September was really hard. It's heartbreaking. I miss my students. I miss learning as much from them as they learn from me. The Canadian voices that are being canceled by these program cancellations in script writing and performing arts and everything is really holding back our Canadian identity. They need post-secondary that's accessible to people financially and, just geographically. We need to keep these programs within our community.
My name is Samuel. I am 18 years old, and I'm a student at Algonquin College in the Film and Media Production program. Originally, I was supposed to study at the college La Cité, which is a French college in Ottawa. I was supposed to study in the television broadcasting and film production program. It was literally everything that I liked, and it was in my mother tongue. It was in French. I've always been passionate about film production and television broadcasting since I was in elementary school. In April, I received an email in my junk mail basically announcing me that the college decided to review its offer of programs, that my program was no longer being offered. There wasn't further explanations. It was just like that. A lot went through my mind when I've seen this news. It was what I was looking forward for so many years, and for me, I had to reconsider my study plans. I had to reconsider everything. We're investing a lot of money as students in our studies, and to see cuts like that and that we're being forced to find other plans, it's sad. Every cancellation of programs represent a loss that can't be replaced.
The future of our economy relies on the knowledge of the youth of today. So cutting in post-secondary education has significant impact in the longer term. Don't cut where the value of the future is. The value of the future is our youth attending post-secondary school.
For business owners in the community, where are they going to get their talent from? So if you cannot staff your shop, how do you keep your shop open?
Looking for a new job after there have been 10,000 layoffs in the sector. It's very competitive right now looking for new work, so I'm very stressed about that.
It is becoming clearer and clearer that the Ford government's agenda is to privatize.
Right now, the provincial government is channeling a lot of funding into the Skills Development Fund, and so like over $2.5 billion. It's a lot. It's more than enough to save the college system, essentially. So right now that money's going into private education that doesn't seem to have a lot of requirements around being successful.
So they are diverting public money that is meant for Ontario public colleges, and they have diverted it into these for-profit schemes.
I think that if we could divert even some of the money from the Skills Development Fund back into community colleges, then I think that would be enough to save. There's enough money there to save the colleges.
We elect our politicians
in the hopes that they will speak for the people and do what is in the best interest. We need to find our way back to our original mandate, which was to provide quality, accessible education to Ontarians.
Training the workers of tomorrow is the only way we're going to sustain a healthy society.
Time to go to work. My name is Jackson Adam, 19 years old from Perth, Ontario, Canada, and I'm an arm wrestler. It's very niche. Not a lot of people know about it. It's more popular now than it's ever been, but it's been around longer than a lot of other sports. It's been around for probably close to 100 years. You normally pick one arm, and then you will do first to 3 pins normally, sometimes 4. You'll do a ready go, and you guys go until someone's pinned the other guy's arm 3 times. My best friend Travis beat me in an arm wrestling match years ago, and I hated the feeling, so I said to him, we're each going to train for 2 months, and we're going to have a match in front of all our friends, and we're going to see who's stronger, and I beat him, of course, and I just kind of rolled with it ever since. The Ottawa High Hookers are a club in Ottawa, and we get together twice a week and we train, and it's just friends and family, and we all get better together and hang out and just arm wrestle. You know what they call him? Big Chungus. That's my. He benches 315 for 4.
My name is Riley Gonzo, and I'm a member of the Ottawa High Hookers Arm Wrestling Club. Everyone there is super friendly, super nice, and wants nothing but to teach new people to grow the sport. It's a competitive community too, but in a very friendly way, and so it's a very nice place to be if you want to get better at arm wrestling and just meet new people.
Everybody has like a different personality here. It's pretty hilarious. Like, it really makes it an enjoyable experience when you get here.
Let's give it a big OHH! 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 OHH!
We have one of the most well-known arm wrestlers who goes there, Devin Larrett. He has built a really strong community, and going to the Ottawa High Hookers, it's a thing to look forward to on Mondays.
Go!
I found the Ottawa High Hookers when I met Devin for the first time. He told me about the club and that they were very local to where I was, so I drove up very nervously the one Monday night, and I met all of them, and been going for about 3 years ever since, every Monday and sometimes Thursday nights, and yeah, we all train and get better together.
The origins of the Kingsmen are all in rides. They're all in open styles, open applications, right? All the way down, just like that.
Me and Jackson have been probably each other's best training partner. We've always been close in matches. It's always been, oh, I might get it, oh, he might get it. Right now, we're in the phase of he's definitely going to get it, but it's been very cool to see him grow in that way.
So my typical arm wrestling training, if I'm training at home and doing weights, has changed a lot over the years. I typically always start with a pronation lift, whether that's a single pronation off the knee, table, pulley, bands, and then I'll go and typically do a riser after, and then I will do a cupping, whether that's on a multi-spinner, a fat handle, and then I will do some sort of grip work, back pressure, very similar to like a hammer curl movement. Training for arm wrestling is different than regular training because of the muscles that are used. Like, it's about the little muscles in the elbow to the top of the hand. Those are the muscles that are important. Got one more rep with my right there. Left cast out. I've been competing for about 2.5 years now, I'd say. First tournament was the Picton Farm Wrestling Tournament 2.5 years ago, where I got my butt kicked. I did not do very well, and I've had some wins, some losses, but it's been a great ride, and nothing like competing. It's awesome.
I have competed a few times, but I don't compete very often just because I feel like it's more just like a hobby kind of sport, but I can still get better, get stronger, and still have fun. Arm wrestling has brought me to form these friendships that have been really strong for years, and some of my better friendships, and so I have nothing but good things to say about arm wrestling.
It's one of the most accepting sports and communities that you could ever get involved in. The feelings it gives you are hard to beat. It's so much fun. It's very addicting. I'm never stressed when I'm there. I'm never anxious. Work, fighting with family, girlfriend, friends, nothing like that matters there. Like I tried going to college and I had a terrible first day there, but it was a Monday, so I went to practice after. So for an hour and a half, I didn't think about school, I didn't stress about it at all. I just got to hang out with my friends, talk about how our days were. I love the guys, I love the feelings. I'm chasing a strength and size that I will never achieve, I'm sure, because I'm always going to want more. But it's a lot of dedication, a lot of training, willingness to just deal with injuries and pain, and just to never give up with it because you love it so much, even when you're sore. And I keep coming back because I love it, even though if I quit, I would feel way better. But it's the feelings it gives me mean too much to give it up.
My name is Michelle Tolentino. I'm 21. I live in Smiths Falls, and I'm a Filipino-Canadian. Growing up in Smiths Falls, there were a lot of cultural differences between a lot of my friends were doing compared to what I was seeing at home. I guess a lot of it was in food. I tried bringing Filipino food, and then I remember kids would be like, "Ugh, what does that smell? Why does it smell like that?" Or what do you have for lunch? And kind of judging it hardcore. I remember I'd be like, okay, maybe I shouldn't be bringing this food to school. This kid has Lunchable. I want to try Lunchable out. Or they had Brussels sprouts at their dinner. I want to try that out too. I definitely wanted to be white, but not in the way of, I guess, losing my culture. I just wanted to fit in with everyone, There are things that I did miss out on. I think the biggest thing is probably the language.
Kumusta?
I'm good.
Mabuti. Anong ginagawa mo?
I'm getting ready for work.
Okay. Perfect.
I do wish to teach Michelle more Tagalog. So when you go back to the Philippines, you can talk to them.
I feel like growing up, I used to watch a lot of Filipino shows with my parents, and as a kid I understood it a lot, but now I don't really watch Filipino shows at all, so I feel like definitely that's something I'm lacking on now, and I would like to work on that. I feel like maybe grade 5 or 6 was when I kind of realized I'm going to be using a tan crayon versus everyone else is going to be using the peach color. A lot of times kids would say something of me being different, and I feel like if I heard those things to this day, I'd be like, you can't say that. But back then I didn't know.
Put you rollerblading. You're too heavy. You're too fat.
Bullying you.
Yeah.
It's bully.
But it was because of
of your color, of your hair. Yeah.
Maybe talk about that, how you felt.
I cried that day. Yeah. By the time your dad told me that someone bullied you, I cried. It's just like I almost went to the principal and talked to the principal. It's the whole month I was crying because first time they bully you. This boy is just like, you're the only girl here that has a children in dark skin. And I did not go to the church, to school, just to fight. And I just pray to God that I don't want to see a word and fight back. Like I told my husband, no comment. I don't want to see a word.
It's very difficult because probably because our color, probably they won't believe us. But
And she comes home with her teacher crying and knocked my door. My husband is crying too. Why they just bullying my daughter? And she's a good girl. She never get in trouble in school. And she's very popular in school. Why they're just bullying my children?
I definitely do feel different, but in a better way now. To be Filipino is definitely a blessing. To be able to be exposed to all the culture, like the food is so amazing. Everyone's so talented as well. Everyone's basically a singer, a dancer, an artist. Like there's a lot that goes into it that I find I identify I am as a person. I feel like as a kid, I always wanted to fit in with the kids. You know, that's all kids really wanted to do was just have a bunch of friends. And then now I'm like, I honestly could care less if I had like 10 friends versus like 2 or 3 friends. I think I'm definitely a lot more proud in like who I am as a different person culturally versus when I was a kid. It was kind of a hard adjustment, I guess. If I could give advice to that little girl, I'd be like, just be who you are. Don't think about what other people are thinking about.
I mean, people make all these stupid things like, oh, it doesn't kill you, makes you stronger, like God or whatever won't hand you things you can't handle. Well, I think that's bullshit.
So, do you want to introduce yourself to the camera?
Hi, I'm Sharda, and I'm Clem's mom.
I'm Clem's dad, Jason.
Yeah. And you still bring him to college with you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just keep them in my bed. Do you remember what it was like before I was diagnosed, like how our family was?
Our life was pretty good, and you were a happy little kid, and yeah, we were like a homeschool family with 4 kids and a baby on the way, and everything was like, I wouldn't say like perfect, but it was a good life, yeah.
So you were a typical kid, you know? We have a big yard to play in, and you ran around with your siblings.
The doctor drew this the first night you were diagnosed.
Do you still have that?
I do still have it.
Oh, really? I remember that.
And the doctor, there's explaining to us what leukemia looked like. They were trying to explain it to you at 4 years old. I don't even remember because it's a blur, but basically saying these are the good cells, these are the bad cells. And the bad cells started to grow, and they never stopped growing, and they grew so fast. That's why it's called acute lymphoblastic leukemia, that even if we'd had you tested 2 weeks earlier, you might not have shown that you were dying, and then boom, you go in on that day, and they're like, oh, you have 2 weeks to live, you're 90% cancer. Like 90% of your blood was cancer.
What do you remember about the day I was diagnosed?
I remember everything. I remember what I was wearing even. Like, I remember that you were not feeling well. That summer you were like really pale, and you had like some like parts of your body that wouldn't tan, and I was worried, but I didn't know what that was. So then I got you to the doctor, and it was, I think, a Friday, and it was October 28th, 2011, and the doctor was in town, and I walked over. He said that you either had a really bad virus or lymphoma or something worse, and I was like, what does that mean?
Remember rushing home from work, putting you in the car, and then driving into the city, and I don't know, it was really quiet. And I remember when we got there, I guess he had called ahead, and we didn't even have to wait in the emergency room or anything. It was like straight in. They did like one quick blood test, and like within like a half an hour, they were like, yeah, like Clem has leukemia. It's really bad, and we need to start treatment like now.
And I'm like, it can't be leukemia. Like, how could you tell us in 3 hours? And they said he does, 99.9% sure. And we're like, okay. And that they said, you're not going home tonight, and you're not going home for a long time. And yeah, our whole world fell apart, and yeah, and we didn't go home for a long time after that.
People figure that people get cancer because of their lifestyle. You know, they eat bad food, or they drink too much, or they smoke too much. But like a kid who hasn't even done anything, how does a kid who hasn't even done anything get cancer?
What is like how a mom survives in the hospital. Decided after being here so far with him for 3 days and 8 days on lockdown that I definitely do not want to go to prison. This is pretty close.
Compared to like before I was diagnosed, how did I change personality-wise during my treatment?
Well, you were dying, so you changed from being a healthy little 4-year-old to a dying 4-year-old. You were skinny, you were pale, you were crying, you couldn't move, you couldn't walk, you could barely breathe. I think everything changed. Like, we were watching you slip away. Here's your hair. Here's your first...
When it first fell out?
The third time it fell out.
Third time.
There is a big bag.
And this is another chemo hair loss, and this was your first hair loss.
Yes.
And I always kept thinking, if I kept your tooth or your hair, I could maybe clone you if you died. I don't know what I was crazy. I guess I'm still crazy.
Did you ever think about what would have happened if I didn't make it?
I really tried not to. I really did. I really tried not to. Because I didn't know what we would do if we had lost one of our kids. Like, I don't know. What do you do then?
Yeah, I thought about it all the time. So it wasn't even just like, oh, now we're doing treatment, now he's going to be better. It was like, oh, now we're going to watch and see if he reacts and dies from this blood transfusion. And they had all, or like every time you had a transfusion, anytime you had a chemo, anytime you had a platelet transfusion, anytime you went for surgery or an LP, like a spinal tap with chemo, every single time they did anything, there was a risk of you dying from that thing.
It's a difficult emotion as a parent to realize that your kid is sick and your kid could die. What really brought it home for me was when my dad got really sick and you were sick. And then, like, when he didn't make it, then I was like, okay, this is serious.
You tried to die so many times, and...
Thankfully, you weren't very good at that.
Yeah, I guess. How does it affect you today?
It makes you think about the fact that, you know, like, anybody can get sick at any time and maybe not get better.
There was like life before and there's life after. And the life before was like the life I always wanted, and the life after is crap. I can't relate to people. I'm not like an easygoing person or mom, and I can't just like, you know, shoot the breeze and have a drink with somebody. Like, my life just feels different. Like, I feel like it's made me more anxious. It's given me PTSD. I can't handle listening to the radio when they talk about the Geo telethon. Like, I mean, people make all these stupid things like, oh, it doesn't kill you, makes you stronger, like God or whatever won't hand you things you can't handle. Well, I think that's bullshit. I think that people have, you know, a lot of choices that they can make and make their life go in certain ways, and there's a lot of things that just happen to people that aren't for any, you know, rhyme or reason. Life goes on a journey and a path, and sometimes that path is crap, you know, like.
I want to say it makes you grateful that you're here, right? Every day that, you know, you're here, you're not a memory, you're an actual person that I can talk to on the phone, that I can hug, you know.
I don't know. I feel like I'm really angry. Like, I feel like it made me like an angry person, and I hate that about myself because I don't feel like.
I don't think you're.
I feel like I've become a worse mom, and like.
No.
That was like the mom I was before, and then the mom I was after, and the mom I've become is kind of bitter. And
I don't think you're bitter at all.
I am bitter. Yeah. I just lost a lot of hope. I used to have pictures out and things, but I decided a few years ago that maybe it's best just to keep things in at one spot and revisit it when we want, but not dwell on it if we can try not to. But it's hard not to.